We can invent kingdoms of our own, grand purple thrones, those chairs of lust and love we must, in beds of rust. Steel doors lock in prisoners' screams, and Muzak AM rocks their dreams. No black men's pride to hoist the beams, while mocking angels sift what seems to be a collage of magazine dust, scratched on foreheads of walls of trust. This is just jail for those who must get up in the morning and fight for such unusable standards, while weeping maidens show off penury and pout ravings for a mad staff.
God, it's also fucking poetic and fucking plastic.
But listen, man, there's one fucking thing I must tell you. When that poor fucking Coyote was dying on that highway, and that poor, silly, little, beautiful cop arrived, I loved him, man. He was a good cop, man.
Oh, God, he really was.
No bad vibes off that motherfucker, man.
I swear, he looked like an Indian to me. I saw an Indian in his face.
I did too, man. I saw him as an Indian.
And you asked me why. I don't know, man. I really love Indians, you know. I got it. It's way back in my mind somewhere.
But he probably was an Indian, man.
Well, he looked very, you know, you had to really look at him, you know. I did. I really looked at him.
You know, the first time I discovered death, me and my mother and father, I'm not sure if a sister was there or whether she was alive or not, and a grandmother and a grandfather were driving through the desert at dawn, and a truckload of Indian workers had either hit another car or just, you know, I don't know what happened. But there were Indians scattered all over the highway, bleeding to death. So the car pulls up and stops. And it's my first reaction to death, because up to then I was just going, you know, picking seeds out of the cotton fields, going, yeah, wow.
How old were you?
I must have been about 4, approximately. Up to then, man, my whole trip was that locks the car door when you push the thing, and boop, you know, or you can look out the window and ooh. And man, all of a sudden, these are Redskins, you know. I can't even remember if I'd seen a movie, man. And they're just lying all over the fucking road, bleeding to death, man.
What did they hit?
They were in one of those trucks, man, and it fell over, and they were just scattered all over the fucking highway, bleeding.
You didn't see what they hit?
No, we came along it, you know, after it happened. So they pull the car up and they stop. And I'm just a kid, you know, so I have to stay in the car with the women, you know, and the cats go back there. My father and my grandfather go back, you know, check it out. And that was my first reaction to death, man. And I don't know whether I'm crazy or what, but I had the feeling when that happened, like I didn't want to look back, like I'm just this little, like a child is like a flower, man. His head is just floating in the breeze, man. But the reaction I get now, thinking about it, looking back, is that possibly the soul of one of those Indians, or maybe several of them, just ran over and just jumped into my fucking brain.
I could dig it.
And they're still in there.
Because you saw them, man.
I didn't see nothing, man. You know what I saw? I saw artificial flowers, man. I saw artificial snow And like when the bull is getting gored, imagine it if you did it like cartoon style with little streamers coming and going. You know, all I saw was just, you know,
like a super heavy
funny,
fucking
funny red paint and people lying around. Oh, but I'm sitting there and I know something's happening because I can dig the vibrations of the people around me. You know, who I think are very heavy because they're my parents and all that, and grandparents. Everything's real secure and, you know, the glove compartment. You know? And all of a sudden I just realized that they were just little screaming, creamy creeps in the face of reality. And that they didn't know what was happening any more than I did. That was the first time I tasted fear. And like, this is a projection from a long way back, but I do think that at that moment, the souls or the ghosts of those dead Indians, maybe one or two of them, were just running around, freaking out, and just leaped into my fucking soul. And I was like a sponge, ready to just sit there and absorb it.
Man, who knows if they didn't, man?
It's not a ghost story, man. It's something that really means something to me. I'm not gonna cry about it. I don't feel like crying.
I can believe it.
But it, you know, it's a very tender, personal point.
And now what I want to know is, where in the fuck were you hitchhiking with Brian?
From Florida up the Gulf Coast through the Southwest to San Diego.
So what?
So it was a big adventure, man.
No, but you were telling me about a story about you and Brian, and you get in and this chick said something to you. That's what I want to hear.
The fucking coyote, man, his little pinky red tongue flops out of his mouth, man. That fucking coyote, man, if I saw him in a Walt Disney movie or something and he's running around grooving, I go, wow, beautiful. And that motherfucker's lying there dying, man. There's nothing I can do, man. You know what I wanted to do was just, part of me wanted to go up and scratch him behind the ears and say, hey, everything's cool, man. But that's a fucking coyote, man. It's not a human being. And if it was a human being, if it's dying, man, it becomes something else. Why are we obsessed with death, man? Is death beautiful or is it nowhere? That's what I want to know. I mean, is it where it's at or is it not where it's at?
What about sex?
Because that sex starts it and death ends it. And if death is the beginning, man, doesn't anyone know isn't there anyone alive right now that knows what's happening?
What did the lady that was driving the car say to you? That's all I want to hear, man.
She said,
It was something like, all I want.
no.
Put my own trip on it, though.
I want to have sexual intercourse with a human being, and I want it right now.
Did you say it like that? I'm really embarrassed. Like,
no.
How did she say that?
She was stoned out of her fucking gourd.
Oh, that's right.
Some people have said that it is a Shock the Live album. I don't think so personally. But then I saw part of it recorded at the Aquarius, and it was very good, and I enjoyed it. But maybe we could just like go through the album itself and just do a quick rundown of how and where and things like that, and what they meant to you at the time of writing.
Let's see. The live album was condensed from about 24 hours of tape concerts that we did over approximately a year's period of time, starting with the Aquarius Theater in August 1969. And we thought we might have one that night. We did 2 sets, and we thought we had one then. When we listened to it in the studio, we found out that it didn't really add up to a very good album. It was a good evening, but on tape it didn't sound that good. So we recorded 7 or 8 other concerts, and then listened to all of it and cut it down. And I think that it is a fairly true document of what the band sounds like on a fairly good night. It's not the best that we can do, and it's certainly not the worst. I think it's a true document of a above average evening. I like that long one, the Celebration. I think is
Celebration of the Lizard.
Yeah, it's not a great version of that piece, but I'm glad we went ahead and put it out, because I doubt if we would have ever done it on a record otherwise.
Why is that?
Well, it's a couple years old, and if we had done it, well, we tried to do it at the time we were doing Waiting for the Sun, and it wasn't, it just didn't seem to make it in the studio. And so we used one piece out of it, Not to Touch the Earth. And if we hadn't have put it on a live album, I think we would have just shelved it forever. So I'm glad, even in the imperfect form that it exists, I think it's it's better than if we'd never done it.